This is an absolute hell of a brief. I was given 10 minutes to, I know you can see a screen, someone's just pulling faces at me at the back there. I was given 10 minutes to look at the state of mobile as it is now, what brands are doing right, what brands are doing wrong, what might happen in the future, what's happening in apps, what's happening in mobile operating systems. I've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to talk very, very quickly. A lot of this will be stuff that you already know, but it's just trying to draw it together for you. So we're looking at smartphones and apps, and we're going to stop thinking about smartphones and apps as exciting newfangled things that do lots of different stuff. They're just normal. Can you put your hand up right now if you've got a smartphone? Right. It's incredibly normal. I know that you guys work with mobile, therefore you might be slightly kind of over-representative of the sort of advanced side of things, but this is the new normal. We need to stop thinking about these things in terms of convergence or things that only geeks use or things that only business people use. Everybody is going to have one. And they're getting smarter. Not only sales of smartphones were at 12.8% in the third quarter of this year, they're doing all sorts of things that people didn't see coming. This little cartoon says, I'm fired, someone else is now doing my job, and the guy says, really, who? And he said, my phone is doing it for me. So basically, these things are doing things that we didn't really see coming, but the more people that you invite in to kind of develop for this stuff, and the more people that you get collaborating on what is essentially a kind of massive global social movement, the more you'll be able to do with it. And also, we're seeing a massive rise in browser base. This is my statistic of the day. We could not figure this one out. Can you see the massive yellow column at the end? This is the fastest growing mobile web browsing demographic as 65 plus. Like, who knew? We thought they might have sat on their phones or something by mistake. We were just sort of looking at it. And that's from Nielsen. That was a couple of weeks ago. And all of a sudden, so mobile browsing is not, I know a lot of people tend to use their sort of parents as examples in these things. That my mother has figured out mobile web browsing, which basically means that everybody else is soon to follow. It's really happening. We had Apple hit the billion app downloads this year. It's one of those things that, again, it's kind of, how many iPhones are there? You guys, iPhones? Blackberries? Both. Oh, geeks. It's horrendous. So yeah, we had Apple hit the billion app store. There's a slight slowing down right now, but it is something that is still kind of very much happening, lots of people developing. And this has been driven mostly by social networking, lots of people accessing Facebook and Twitter on their mobile phones. Also, interestingly, I thought in terms of content sharing on mobile, this is really interesting. Link shortened, so bit.ly, tiny cc, tiny URL, use of those on mobile phones has gone up 1,068% in 3 months, which is absolutely insane, which means that people are sharing content sort of all over the place, actually using their mobile phones. They're not just using it for personal messages, they're using it to share content. And also location-based services. This is one of those things, again, that we should stop thinking about convergence and stuff like that. If you're lost, you look up a map on your mobile phone. It's not rocket science. It's a very, very basic process. And sport. And so, like, you guys will know that last week, 2 weeks ago, Sky Sports announced a package by which you can now view all Premiership football matches on your mobile phone. Which, if you're a Liverpool fan, as I am, is an absolute bloody tragedy, and a reason that I will be punting my iPhone into the Thames as soon as we're done. And also, MLB.com, they've been doing this for ages. The MLB, Major League Baseball, really, really smart about the way that they do this stuff. They were like, right, okay, we could either tie up all the matches, put them on TV, sell a load of advertising around them, and make sure that nobody can see them apart from the people who are generally sitting in front of their TVs at that point in time, or we can open it out. You pay $60 a year for anyone around the world, and you get every single match streamed to your iPhone. And the amount of money they're making by being open about that is absolutely extraordinary. It's just really forward thinking. And there are obviously brands in this space. I'm not going to dwell too much on the marketing side of things because I know that you guys are all sort of doing it. This is a particular favourite. This is the Kraft iFood Assistant. It's a favourite because, one, it was early. They got in about 1.5 years ago with it. It has sort of craft recipes, sort of craft sort of oriented products in the recipes. Shopping list with a store locator, a mobile recipe box so you can favourite things. It's very, very slick. It works incredibly well. But the reason I like this is for a number of reasons. One, it's doing something useful for you at the point at which you're about to spend your money, which is what mobile does incredibly well, is point of sale. Just be useful at point of sale. 2, it was their 3rd attempt to get it right. Kraft tried this twice and failed, and it didn't work executionally, and everybody ignored it, and they were like, no, there's definitely something here, let's do it again. So if you've got an idea and it fails, it might just be that it's not the right time. And 3, the people were paying for it. It's one of the first branded apps that people paid for. And they're paying 99 cents a download, and they're way over. They're about 2.5 million downloads or something like that now. So that's basically not marketing anymore. That is an extension of their service. That is an additional Kraft product that they're selling. And it was number 2 in the lifestyle category of the iPhone App Store for a really long time. For a branded app, that's kind of incredible. I also like Kraft in the US is obviously a massive brand with lots of different products. Here it's kind of the cheese slices, right? So we were looking at, one of our researchers was like, they've got 7,000 recipes with cheese slices in, that's disgusting. I was like, that's kind of... But anyway, much bigger apparently. And also, Android is upon us, it fully is. This is one of those things that people are still being a little bit sketchy about, maybe think it's for geeks or developers or businessmen or something like that. But this is coming really, really fast. Like in September to October this year, the number of developers developing apps for Android went up 94%, and 94% is not a statistic that you ignore. That's the sort of thing, like, people are getting involved massively. And also the Droid phone, the Motorola Droid, sold 100,000 handsets in one weekend in the US. And that's by far the most successful Android launch ever. So this stuff is coming really quickly. And the reason that I think Android's important and not to be ignored... Sorry, I have a bit of a cartoon fetish. The cartoons tend to come in sort of quite often. But the reason that I think Android is going to be something that we really need to keep an eye on is, one, because it's dangerous to avoid something. It is a dangerous business strategy to avoid something just because you do not know what it is. Two, because it's open source and lots of people are developing it, will mean that we can port content across all handsets, across all networks without even worrying. I mean, it's designed to make things easy. Three, it's Google. It'll probably be really good. And four, because it does, this is the thing that nobody talks about with apps. If you have an iPhone, you have your iPhone, and then you have a series of apps that take you off in different little directions. They're basically cul-de-sacs. They're the end of the road. You have an app that does your maps. You have an app that does your music. You have all these different things. Android is designed to have lots of different apps talking to each other. They're designed to work together, so all of a sudden the potential for those apps kind of multiplies exponentially. If you can have, like, you have a map that shows you where your nearest pub is. If you can have maps and an app that showed you where your nearest pub is and an app that could order you a pint before you got there, all talking to each other at the same time, then that's the kind of convergence that we're looking at. So Android, definitely worth keeping an eye on. And also, I've been talking about apps, but apps aren't everything, and basic does not equal boring. I know that we talk a lot about entry-level handsets and about communicating with people via SMS, various different sort of more entry-level technologies. And the way that we think about this, another cartoon, sorry, this is my favourite cartoon character ever, this is Wile E. Coyote, and I found out the other day, do you know what ACME stands for? It stands for a company that makes everything. Isn't that awesome? It's one of those things that we've been watching for years and never knew, but that means a company that makes everything. If something's there, then use it. Like, if SMS is there, then use it. If you've got target audiences using Android, then use it. If you've got, like, these platforms are available to you, all of this mobile technology is developed so marketers can come in and use it. So instead of sort of hopping around it, just sort of see what's available to you and get out there. And this is something that I try not to talk too much about Nike because I know they're a bit of a sort of poster child for this kind of communication, but this is the best application of SMS for a marketing campaign I think I've ever seen. It really is very special. This is something that Nike did around the Tour de France. They were sponsoring the Tour de France, and they were trying to bring together Lance Armstrong, the Livestrong Cancer Foundation, and themselves and the Tour de France around this one central promotion. So it's quite a tricky group. You're trying to bring a lot of people in there. So what they noticed about the Tour de France, I don't know if anyone's seen this, but at the Tour de France, people chalk messages on the side of the road in order to support the cyclists and to kind of like encourage them and stuff. So they were like, okay, that's great for the people who are at the Tour de France. What are we going to do for the people who aren't able to get there? How do we use technology to open that out? So they used a system that was predominantly SMS based. You could text in your message of support or cancer survival or encouragement for the cyclists, or you could do it via a website, or you could do it via Twitter, but the majority of it came through SMS. And then they had this thing called the chalk bot, which would receive your message and chalk it on the side of the road. And not only chalk it on the side of the road, it obviously went through an obscenity filter and everything like that, but they chalked it on the side of the road. Yeah, we tried to get one through that just said ... finish. But yeah, nobody was buying that, unfortunately. But basically, yeah, so it chalked it on the side of the road, and not only chalked it on the side of the road, it took a picture of that message on the road, captured the GPS coordinates, and then sent it back to you via MMS or via email in order to show you that it had been done. So you're not just flinging your messages into the ether and hoping it happens, you get proof that they've done it for you. And I'm just going to show you a little video quickly, just a little bit of it.
We built Chalkbot together so that people from everywhere can spread messages of hope and cancer survival to the entire world at the Tour de France, on the streets. Fully pneumatic robot. We're all friends friends working on the development of it. So it's literally friends working together, building a really cool thing that millions of people are going to be able to see and experience, interact with.
The way that people treat things changes a lot once it's physical. People will feel a lot more connected to the message that they send. So it's not just a throwaway text. It's not just a, yo, I'm sorry, right? It's, now it's somewhere, right? Now it's something.
I think you get the idea with that one. I just wanted to show that because it's the use of mobile as a two-way device, and I think marketers in general all across the advertising industry have fallen prey to this very pushy sort of model of getting content out there. And mobile is such an interesting opportunity for you guys to sort of get things moving in two directions rather than just pushing stuff out in the same way the marketing industry has done for years. And that's what I think the chalkboard does incredibly well. Just to conclude, technology is there for the gaps in society. We get really caught up in this stuff, but basically all technology exists because there was a gap in the way that we lived our lives that we couldn't plug through physicality, so we now have technology to make it easier for us. And the sort of example I use, like two very different examples from different markets. Like one, if you're a commuter in Japan waiting for your bullet train is more than 20 minutes late, they Bluetooth a mobile certificate saying it's like a late note to your mobile phone, so you can go to your boss and say it wasn't my fault, like my train was late, but you can imagine it working here. But basically, so that's what they do, and that's a Japanese market that's very, very specific to the Japanese market. Massive commuter culture, huge uptake of Bluetooth, and it works very well there. However, there's also all sorts of innovation coming in places like Africa, like the real technology, like sort of innovation through necessity kind of thing. And if you look at people are using camera phones in Africa to test for like microbes, to test for diseases. You can analyze, you can install programs on camera phones that can see where these microbes are coming from and can see if people are testing positive for things. And there's also, in times of great civil unrest, prepaid mobile phone cards they take on a currency of their own. So people will pay sort of £50 for a £1 mobile phone top-up because the most important thing at that time is for people to be able to call each other and say, are you okay? And that's it's like, it's like trade of cigarettes in prison or something like that as well. It's what's important to you at that time. And what's important to people at that time is in Africa. So do keep an eye on that for innovation. Very interesting stuff. And finally, people don't need advertising. The effect of the economy on advertising has shown very much that it is a non-essential facet of life. It is one of those things that when the chips are down, it is the first thing to get cut. And it's a little bit depressing, but it is true. So of all the thousands of words that have been written about changes in the marketing industry since the inception of digital technology, particularly mobile, this is true for, the only things that are actually true are that now you have to give something back. You have to be at least useful, at least relevant, or at least entertaining in order to get people. And that is so true for mobile. It's true everywhere in marketing, but in mobile, useful, relevant, and entertaining are the three things that I think are most important. Thank you.